this week has seen former Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi buried hours after he collapsed in court and died on Monday. And Madagascar set to participate for the first time in the African Cup of Nations represented by the national team nicknamed Barriere. This is Africa Focus. Here's a peek of the stories set in store today.
Human-wildlife conflict, high number of elephant attacks raising alarm in Botswana, exceptional dolls, Burkina Faso African dolls outshine the blue-eyed Western Barbies. In pursuit of zero waste, Senegalese tackle trash.
I'm Lenny Rashid. Before we get into the main stories, let's take a look at the news that made the headlines around the continent.
Traders in the border town of Bwera in Kasese region of Uganda are worried about the spread of Ebola and are taking precaution into their own hands following the death of two people who crossed over from the Congo. A 5-year-old boy and his grandmother died of the disease in Uganda this week after arriving from the Democratic Republic of Congo. Authorities repatriated the relatives of the two victims back to Congo on Thursday, including a 3-year-old boy confirmed to be suffering from the disease, the Ugandan health minister said. Congo's epidemic is the second worst worldwide since West Africa's Ebola outbreak in 2014-2016, with 2,108 cases and 1,411 deaths since being declared in August 2018. In Bwera, traders say that they are trying to limit their movement and contacts, and some of them have opted to stay away, affecting their businesses. Uganda has already vaccinated many frontline health workers and is relatively well prepared to contain the virus. The World Health Organization has brought in 4,000 additional vaccines and will begin vaccinating more people on Saturday.
Representatives from the United Nations, European Union and members of the UN Security Council have joined the African Union's mediation efforts to push Sudan's Transitional Military Council and opposition towards a transition to democracy 2 months after the overthrow of former President Omar al-Bashir. Speaking to reporters in Khartoum, African Union Special Envoy Mohamed Al-Hassan said the body was set up to support efforts to resume talks that collapsed after the violent dispersal of a protest sit-in on June 3rd. Talks between the military and the opposition were deadlocked before the crackdown, which led to at least 118 deaths, according to opposition-linked medics. The government has confirmed 61 deaths, including 3 security personnel. Al-Hassan said he also expects an investigation into the crackdown. The bloodshed has drawn expressions of concern from world powers, including the United Nations, which imposed sanctions on Sudan under Bashir over its alleged support for militant groups and the civil war in Darfur.
Asylum seekers from the Democratic Republic of Congo arrived at Greyhound bus station in San Antonio, Texas last week, part of a growing streams of immigrants escaping strife and poverty in Central Africa. Apolline Kulumushi, an immigrant from Congo, handed out home-cooked food for the recently arrived asylum seekers who lined up outside the Migrant Resource Center. Kulimushi said that she started delivering food for the newly arrived Congolese immigrants after several pregnant women in the group said they were unfamiliar with the food provided to them by the food bank.
Egypt is gearing up to host 24 teams and their fans for the Africa Cup of Nations soccer tournament, the fourth time it has held the competition and the first time since 2006. From upgrading infrastructure and using a new online ticketing system, the tournament organizers have spent 3 months upscaling venues which are expected to hold a minimum of 20,000 fans at a time. The tournament begins on June 21st and matches will be held in 6 stadiums across 4 cities. Everything from painting and numbering seats, installing new flooring and renovating the pitches has left Egypt with a hefty bill upwards of 50 million Egyptian pounds, approximately $2,983,700. Stadium entrances have been expanded and new access points created to quickly transport fans to and from the stadiums. Changing rooms and bathrooms have been installed, and according to the tournament director and former Egypt national footballer Mohamed Fadl, each of the 24 teams will have their own training grounds for the first time ever in the tournament. Egypt has extensive football facilities, although in recent years attendances at local marches have been restricted because of security concerns. But restrictions have been slowly lifted, and with the new online ticketing system, fans are required to submit copies of their national identification cards for background checks. In January, Egypt stepped in as 2019 host after Cameroon was stripped of the right to hold the event in late November 2018 over concerns at the slow pace of their preparations.
Botswana is known to have the highest elephant population in Africa, with the Chobe River supporting up to 50,000 in the dry season. But human-wildlife conflict is on the rise as elephants attack farms and trample humans, while locals fight back to protect themselves, driving many elephants to their deathbeds. Take a look.
This is all that remains of the elephant that was shot in this farmer's field in northern Botswana 2 weeks ago.
The elephant came from this direction in the forest.
Ishmael Simasiku's crops had been destroyed several times by the animals, so when this elephant went for his watermelons, he did everything he could to scare it off. But the distress flare and warning shots did not work.
Started eating my crops, and then it was the time when I shot it with one bullet, and it ran over there where you saw the carcasses there, and it fell there. And it died there.
Botswana's elephant population has increased nearly tenfold since 1970, numbering around 130,000 today, according to the UN Environment Programme. And incidents between people and the animals have become common, one of the reasons why the government has lifted the hunting ban.
Well, let me tell you that personally, I'm so excited. Not only me, but the 5,000 people that lives in the Chobe enclave. It's a welcome move, I must say.
In 2018, elephants damaged or destroyed 9,000 properties and killed 15 people. In the north of Botswana, where they are most numerous, walking at night has become very risky. Dorcas lost her brother in April when he was attacked by an elephant on his way home.
It stamped on his chest. He stamped on his chest. His liver burst, his hand rib broke, and that is what caused the death. So you can imagine looking at the elephant, seeing that this is the end of your life.
Wildlife-based tourism is the second largest contributor to Botswana's GDP, but locals like Dorcas fear being overrun by the increasing elephant population.
All they're interested in is to come and see those animals. Yet they just see them for a few minutes or for a few hours, and they go back where they're comfortable. We are in trouble. Something really needs to be done.
While locals have welcomed the move, it has been highly criticized by environmentalists abroad. With the 400 hunting permits to be issued annually, the government ensures the elephant population will not be endangered.
Somalia is known to Egyptians as the land that is famous for frankincense and myrrh, being an important center for commerce with the rest of the ancient world, according to most scholars. Designer clothes have also seen their way through this point at the Horn of Africa.
Somali designer Hawa spends her days dreaming up new creations. From a young age, she has found a creative outlet in fashion, despite her conflict-torn surroundings.
When I began my art studies at school, I quickly found a love for designing clothes. Growing up, I realised that was my passion. I dreamed of being a designer.
Somalia has been ravaged by decades of war, and the Islamic militant group Al-Shabaab stages regular attacks, making life here precarious. Muna, another Somali designer, set her sights on proving that it was possible to inject creativity and hope into daily life.
My priority was to be an inspiration for young Somalis. To show them that it's possible to succeed in their country, that you don't need to leave to do that.
Success means starting a business in the clothing sector, but also offering locally produced fabric to clients. In the capital, Mogadishu, fashion choices are often limited and very costly.
The clothes are often too big. We have to take them to a tailor to be resized. Here it's different. We can choose a design and have a dress in our size, and the price is much lower than imported clothes.
And fashion is not only for women. Some young men are also venturing into the sector, despite the weight of strict traditions that could discourage them.
The blue-eyed Barbies from the West have been overpowered by Pauper Mania, a typical African Barbie doll in Burkina Faso designed for the local population. Dolls made by Africans for Africans are giving hope of embracing African franchise in the market.
In Burkina Faso, a new-look doll is hitting the shops. Challenging the typical blue-eyed Barbies, these dolls are designed to resonate more with the local population.
I see these beautiful dolls. Normally we always see European dolls. It's the first time I'm seeing something like this here, and I'm happy. I want to buy some for my friends.
The dolls are locally made, by Africans, for Africans.
All the dolls are made from African materials. We're trying to get a lot of people engaged with these dolls, to buy things that are 100% from here.
In her Ouagadougou workshop, Abibou crafts the dolls with the help of 6 employees. She believes that the African dolls could go on to reach the same levels of success as more well-known models.
An African Barbie doll, why not? We need something like that. We still like white Barbies, but when the doll looks like this, there's a greater resemblance. You can dress them like yourself, style the hair like your own, with curly hair. You're immediately more connected with it.
For a long while, the business was going from strength to strength. But recently, sales have slowed down owing to the uncertain security situation in Burkina Faso. The threat of jihadist terror attacks has kept away both the tourists and the wholesale buyers that represented a large part of their market. But Abibou hopes business will pick up again soon, and she'll be able to supply more African children with dolls that they can identify with.
Coming up after the break.
In an attempt to diversify the island's nation's economy beyond vanilla bean farming and light textile industry, Madagascar stabilizes automobile production.
We're about to pay some bills. Don't touch that dial. Keep it switched. Welcome back to Africa Focus. I'm Lenny Rashid. Now, most of the cars on the African continent are produced by global corporations. But in Madagascar, the island nation is assembling its unique car models. The new Karengi Mazana 2 gives its island nation a design for admiration.
Rolling down the roads of Antananarivo, this distinctive-looking car is hard to miss. Tahiri drives for a Madagascan transport company and is proud to drive a Karenz that not only sports his company colours, but is homegrown.
This car is made in Madagascar by Malagasy people. We buy Malagasy products to support Malagasy businesses. This car is easy to maintain because it has a Peugeot engine, which means it's not difficult to find parts because we can buy them in many shops.
While the engine might be imported, the chassis, bodywork and electronics are all made and assembled here in Madagascar. And the car is also tailored to the poor road conditions and other local problems.
It's very light, easy to push. It's a 4x4. The windscreen is very straight, and that's because of the greenhouse effect in the heat. The high windows are for security, and the tilted bonnet is for visibility. All of it has been conceived to be functional. At the start, no one had faith. Even our suppliers thought we were crazy. They'd say making cars in Africa with people who had no qualifications is completely impossible.
C'est complètement impossible.
Closed in 1991 after 11 years, the Karenz factory reopened its doors in 2009. Some 60 people work at the social enterprise, making around 3 cars per month. Joelina is one of 6 women working here. For her, being a mechanic is a dream come true.
For me, I'm proud as a Malagasy, as a woman, to do the same work as a man. I love my job, especially when I see the chassis. I'm proud that I'm the one who made the Mazana 2 chassis. I'm happy when I see my work on the streets of Madagascar.
30 years ago, a Koren's Popemobile was created especially for John Paul II's visit to Madagascar. The company hopes to go down that road once more when Pope Francis visits in September.
As the Atlantic Ocean waves chase each other discharging waste on the Senegalese beach, volunteers are keen to implement the Zero Waste initiative that was launched by President Macky Sall during his inauguration in April 2019. In a pursuit of a cleaner environment, the volunteers work as foot soldiers to bring back the cleanliness of the beach to glory.
Armed with gloves, shovels and trash bags, about 50 young people who responded to a Saturday morning call of the On Trades Association in Senegal are busy grooming. Whether through projects by citizen associations or private profit initiatives, Senegalese have organized themselves to fight against the proliferation of garbage and to compensate for the lack of resources by the public authorities.
Each citizen should not ask what his municipality can do for him, but what he can do for his municipality. This is why we do not really expect the commitment of the municipality or other structures. But we as young people who are experiencing this misfortune, we will make our contribution.
Plastic waste and decaying fish littering the shore is the face that presents the Bay of Han, long sandy beach on the edge of the Atlantic, but also one of the most polluted areas of the Senegalese capital. Besides cleaning days organized by associations such as Senegal on Trade and Bon Vivre Senegal or Save Dakar, residents have started small businesses in the informal sector and pick up trash bags of residents away from the main roads at an average monthly fee of 1,500 francs.
We do not have all the human and material resources to deploy at the level of each commune or at the level of each link. So today, if we see that an association is rising to support the process, we can only welcome it.
These private initiatives are well received by the UCG, which handles about 2,400 tons of garbage per day in Dakar, with a population exceeding 3 million inhabitants.
Dramatic cheers and boos echo through the Haj Youssef Stadium on the edge of Sudan's capital, Khartoum, where wrestlers went head-to-head once more after a brief hiatus. Take a look.
Dramatic cheers and boos echo through the Haj Youssef Stadium on the edge of Sudan's capital, Khartoum, where wrestlers go head-to-head once more after a brief hiatus. Originating in the Nuba Mountains, the sport has become widely popular countrywide in recent years. With the ongoing tensions in the country, recent negotiations between the ruling military council and the demonstrators have heightened confidence and hope for peace among the citizens.
When the crisis began with the protests and the protesters, people were afraid to come here because when the protests and the protesters started, people tried to avoid wrestling because they were afraid of any conflict that might happen. But these days, the government formed the military council and now people are happy with the wrestling.
Wrestling attracts hundreds of spectators to stadia, some sat in chairs, others on the ground. It is believed to be the most watched sport after soccer. In 2010, the Sudanese government brought the sport to the capital by building Haj Youssef Stadium, which has hosted several matches starring international wrestlers.
People have put football aside and come here to watch Sudanese wrestling because it is about peace, love and fraternity. All the people present here come from all the different tribes of Sudan and they love wrestling. Wrestling has developed a lot here.
Besides the joy it brings its lovers, the game is also a symbol of unity. According to citizens here, wrestling has long kept Sudanese people united as it brings thousands to watch the sport weekly.
I'm happy to wrestling. I am happy that there is wrestling because it is like a celebration back in the village. It is something very good and very nice.
With the game strongly embedded in Sudan's culture, the passion for it can only keep soaring for many years to come.
On Africa Focus, we love hearing from you, so make sure you get interactive with us on our various social media pages. Remember, you can view this program along with a wide array of other programs on DSTV channel 268 and on Azan TV channel 138. On behalf of the entire team here on Africa Focus, thank you for keeping us company on this exciting journey. Keep it switched.